When you are on the go, you need your credit union to be right there with you. Hughes Federal Credit Union makes your life easier. For 65 years, Hughes has called Southern Arizona home and has given back to our community. Isn't that who you want as your financial partner?
Welcome to Greg Hanson's Video Notebook, brought to you by Hughes Federal Credit Union. I'm Star Sports Editor Ryan Finley here with Greg Hanson. GH, meaningful basketball at McHale Center this week. USC comes to town Thursday, Arizona UCLA on Saturday. This may be one of the biggest homestands in recent U of A history.
Yeah, you know, you could make a case that it's the biggest UCLA USC homestand ever.
Wow.
Because, you know, they've won 46 games coming in.
Right.
Only one at a time have they won 40 coming in, but that was during the Kevin O'Neill year. Mm-hmm. So you go back to 1979, the first year they're in the league, when it was big time, seeing UCLA and USC on your floor. UCLA came in number 6, and USC was unbeaten.
Wow.
And Arizona swept them.
What?
Yeah, it could be. If you talk to people who've been around, the most exciting home weekend in McHale history.
Wow.
I know it's 38 years ago, but I looked it all up this week. There's a lot of truth to that.
What's so interesting to me about SC and UCLA, and I've been following them since back then, they've never been good at the same time.
Exactly. They've never finished 1-2 in the league or 2-1. And what were the odds of that in 1979 when Arizona got in the league? In fact, no travel partners in the league have ever finished 1-2 and 2-1.
Does that say something about maybe what sort of an energy level you get from teams when you visit them? I mean, that sort of somebody always loses when you're on the road?
Right. And it's like you get the team's best shot.
Right.
And Arizona has been a living example of that for the last 30 years.
Right. To me, it's interesting, too, how USC, if we can talk about the Trojans for a bit, they've factored sort of in Arizona's history more than probably you'd think. You know, I think back to the Adam Spanich game from the corner. They hit that big shot back in 1998. Arizona's maybe best team on paper. Loses to USC there. You look at the connection with Kevin O'Neill and how he was able to sort of turn a bad situation here into a situation there that got ugly.
And the Henry Bibby stuff.
The Henry Bibby stuff, his son Mike comes to Arizona and becomes one of their greatest all-time players. USC is a strange little basketball program. What do you make of them now?
I think this might be the best personnel they've had since they had Harold Miner when George Raveling was the coach. And then in the 79-80 era, USC was really good. USC's won one Pac-12 basketball title in those 38 years. One.
Wow.
It was 1985, when in the worst league ever.
Right.
Who would have predicted that?
I know. Well, what's interesting about them now, too, is USC, to me, is as attractive a place to play college basketball as it's ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, Galen Center's, I think, very nice. A good-sized place to play. Andy Enfield's Dunk City stuff, I think, plays well with recruits. They're getting good players. Their assistant coaching staff, Tony Bland, does a good job. I mean, if there's a time for USC to kind of do that, it's now.
When are they going to have better personnel than they have right now?
I don't know.
I mean, not next year. I bet most of them bail out again.
Right. In Arizona, I mean, Arizona has sort of an all-time great list of starters right now. USC has a couple of guys who would start at Arizona.
You know, that'd be fun. If you mix those two rosters, you wonder, where does Benny Boatwright play?
I know.
Jordan McLaughlin, their point guard, he starts.
He starts. I think Metu starts.
Yeah, Metu starts at center.
Yeah, I mean, Metu is just a compelling guy to watch and somebody who you know his best basketball is in front of him.
Yeah. I mean, for people in Tucson, this is the best USC-UCLA weekend since 1979. I'm telling you.
Wow. This is Greg Hanson at his best right here. Dropping 1979 court-storming knowledge. Huge weekend of basketball at McHale Center starting Thursday night, 8 p.m. I'm sorry for that deadline ahead of time. Thursday.
You know, they stormed the court both nights in 1979.
Wow.
And didn't do it again until you were one of the court stormers.
The Jason Terry Stanford game. I was
3 times in history.
I was a U of A freshman or sophomore. That was a fun game.
Yeah.
That was a fun game. Greg, if this game gets over, it's an 8 o'clock game. If it gets over in like an hour 40, will you storm the court?
The last time they stormed, when you were storming, Reich Neethling, the greatest swimmer in U of A history, used me as a launching pad to get on the court. I was on deadline, too. It was a lousy story.
Did Nick Wise jump up on the table by you that one year, the KO year? Do you remember?
I do. No, it wasn't by me.
Was it by Patrick? Was that it?
Yeah.
Nick Wise. Anyway, big weekend of hoops at McHale. We'll see y'all out there. That'll do it for this episode of Greg Hanson's Video Notebook. For Greg Hanson, I'm Ryan Finley. We'll see you next time.